Okay, so here we are in the culinary lab at the restaurant management building. Going to go over a few important things that we really need to discuss for the upcoming semester. Last semester, as I mentioned, we had to leave without cleaning properly. We're trying to get the place cleaned up as best as we can, considering the situation, the circumstances. But we're going to start right here. As soon as you walk in, there's the exit door on the left and the entrance on the right. In the industry, you should always follow those rules so you don't have somebody tip over their food or some hot product or something they have. So the very first thing you're going to do, I hope you pay really close attention. I'm considering doing a pop quiz on locating items in the kitchen where they're at. So please pay close attention, so that way you can help your classmates, or you can find things very easy. But the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to come into the lab. You're going to find you a seat. There's one table per person. You will be social distancing due to COVID virus. So we have a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 tables. We will separate them a little bit. Classes are maxed at 10. Okay. This right here is my work table and my toolbox. Everyone's allowed to use tools that I have in here, and I also have more in the wall locker. That's my tool, excess tool cargo area. But the very first thing you're going to do is come in, find your seat, put your personal belongings down. If you bring drinks in, they must have a lid and a straw. Okay, you can't have open container drinks or sodas from a fountain machine without a straw, without a lid. So once you put your things down, the very first thing you should do is come over here and get you a sanitation bucket. Those of you that took the food handlers already know that a sanitation bucket is required for every workstation. That means everyone in here should get a bucket. Okay, this is a dishwashing machine, and once you come get your bucket, you'll walk over here, and we have all our chemicals here, to dispense chemicals. And if you look carefully there, try to zoom in, the red one, that's going to be your sanitizing solution right there. It even says sanitizer. There's also the green one, I believe it's for the floor, and other chemicals. And all you have to do is put your bucket right below that red button with that 1 tube and press it, and it's already diluted. Okay, it's already diluted to what you need. So our chemicals are on the wall. Everyone needs a bucket. Go back to your workstation. Okay, wherever your workstation is going to be. So they go back and forth, the health department. The bucket, I would put it on top of one of the stools, just below your table, next to your trash can. You would put your sanitation bucket right on top of that stool. Don't put it on the floor like a lot of people do. And then some people will put it in a pan on the ground, but let's put them on the stool for now. So once you get that done, you can have a seat, and if you know what's going on already, and then you're gonna be able to go ahead and get started. So what I want to start off with is the dishwashing machine. The dishwashing machine, these are the racks down here in the bottom that we use to put the dishes in. Sanitation buckets again. Okay, and then right here on this dishwashing machine, remember that a dishwashing machine, it only washes, rinses, and sanitizes. It does not scrub. All pots and pans should be scrubbed in the 3-compartment sink. That's way back there that we'll get to here in a minute. But everything else besides pots and pans, they can be rinsed off. First, you must clean them of all food and debris. Then you rinse, and then you load up yourself one of the baskets here. And I'm going to explain a couple things about the basket. So, this is the right way, and this is the wrong way. And the reason is everything is piled up on top of each other, and how is the water to get in there to wash and do its job? Over here, everything is flat and separated. If you look at the dishwashing machine, right in here, we have a plug. There's a jet sprayer, and there's one on top. I'm not sure you can see the one on top. But this jet sprayer, what happens is people put very small things inside the gasket, and this goes right inside the probe. It's right here, and it goes right in there. And then all you do is close it, and it'll fill up for you. But please remember, any small items that you put on here, your small measuring spoons, your little piping tips, they will get stuck inside that little plug that's down there, that I just put down there. Please never stick your hand inside there. There's knives, there's all kinds of things that get stuck in there, but you must rinse everything first. Cleaning is one thing, and then rinsing is another thing, and then washing is another thing. Completely different things. So clean, scrape, rinse, wash, and then rinse, sanitize. The machine does that for you. But again, everything must be flat and exposed in between where it can wash. You cannot do this. If I catch you doing this, I will remind you about it. And then in sanitation and safety, there's only one way to dry pots and pans, and that is going to be air dry. These are our drying racks. We have 3 of them that we just got last semester. You wash your dishes, you let them air dry. You don't use a paper towel, and you don't use your towels for it, okay? Let them air dry. And the biggest thing about the dishwashing machine, people like to pile their dishes here and say they'll be back for it. We don't do that. Please leave all your dirty dishes at your table until you are ready to wash dishes. Please do not let me catch you leaving your dishes behind, because at the end of the class, nobody wants to claim them, and it becomes very confusing. Imagine this whole area here piled with dishes, and it's happened many times before. If I see it, I will stop it. What's the only way to dry your dishes? Air dry on these racks. So now let's go to the 3-compartment sink. This is one thing that you should focus on really good, because according to the anywhere, almost any county you go to, you're required to have a 3-compartment sink, regardless if it's a food truck or a restaurant. Okay, so the first one is going to have water up to the lines. Okay, so this one here, it has the hose also. It's connected to the detergent. You press the detergent. This sink is very old, so down to the bottom, you pick it up and you start to fill it up. On this one here, you have to hold it for about a minute for the suction to hold in the water. So this is soap water to wash, and then this is just plain water to rinse, and this is going to be sanitized water, the same water you're using for your sanitation buckets. Remember, it's on this wall. And there's also a reminder there on the 3-compartment sink. Please read the chapter carefully. Everything is already diluted. Okay, so the sanitizer is going to come out here as well. So for those of you waiting in line to get your sanitizing solution in your bucket, you don't have to wait just for this red one here. You can also come and use this one on the right-hand side. But please remember that these buttons, you push them in and they won't stop until you release them. That means that we're going to have overflow down here. So here, remember, because you need to clean your dishes, your pots, pans, you need to clean them very well in the trash, and then you must rinse very well, and then you can wash. There shouldn't be any food in here. If there's a little bit of food, it's understandable, but if there's too much, we have to start over. There should definitely not be any food in the rinsing sink, and definitely not any food in the sanitation sink, the sanitizer. Okay, so make sure and pay close attention to that. That's very important for sanitation and safety. Okay, so let's have a discussion on knives. We did talk briefly about knives, the knives that you're going to need. Let's start off with the first knife here. That's a cleaver knife. That's for butchery, for big primal cuts. You won't be needing that anytime soon. Okay, so we have a slicing knife. This is a boning knife. Could be a utility knife. And of course, the chef knife. If you have a question, what's the most popular knife used in the kitchen? It's a chef knife. Or a French knife, as some call it. This knife here is a slicing knife. It has little serrated, not serrated, but little indentations on the side. That's to prevent friction. And then this is a butcher steel. Normally they're round. And the butcher steel, this is testable. A butcher steel does not sharpen a knife. It just gives it a true edge. It hones the edge. And then here's your paring knife. When you get these knives, they should not be serrated because you can't sharpen them. There's also utility scissors. And this is a clam or an oyster chucking knife. The clam will be sharper and the oyster will be a little bit more rounder. Okay, so those are the knives. They come with a set. A set comes in a kit such as this, but you could also buy your own box if you'd like. Okay, so we're going to talk about this immersion blender. An immersion blender, this is probably about a 15-inch immersion blender, interchangeable parts. Instead of having to take, if you're making a soup or a sauce, instead of having to take everything cup by cup, you're going to put it inside, you're going to put this directly inside your liquid, okay? And you'll go ahead and blend it. Be very careful with the sharp little blade that's here. See if I can get a better zoom. Okay, and then it also has an adapter to put a wire whisk and also a mini food processor with the blade that goes right inside. Okay, so this comes right off. This will twist off and then you can put on inside here or get the other attachment and put the whisk. You don't have to buy this. I have several of them. This is a food processor. The food processors can be very dangerous, but also they're very expensive and people don't know how to take care of them. So if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. So there's a way to put it on. For example, right here, there's a little button there, and behind here there's a spring-loaded rod that must lock into place, and it's locked right there. And this here, the lid, must press down to engage it for it to even work to begin with. And this is done all unplugged. You don't want this plugged in. Now when you put this in, when you put it on, you want to make sure that it turns properly and it engages down here. Now you plug it in and you're able to use it. Never stick your hands in there. We have adapters that go inside here to push the food product down. So if you would, don't ever put your hand in there. Don't ever stick tools in there. Just use the proper tools that it came with. This is called a mandolin. We have Japanese mandolin, French mandolin. This is just an American-made mandolin, and these have different types of cuts. So you can do like waffle fries, like you do at Chick-fil-A, and always use your safety device. So you put your product right on here, and you slide down without cutting your fingers. This is very sharp. You will see me maybe not use the safety device at times, but trust me, it's very sharp. So what we have here is sharpening. This is a whetstone. Okay, this whetstone is pretty cool. It has 3 sides. And there's mineral oil down at the bottom. The tray maintains the oil in there. So when you're sharpening a knife, you always start off with the roughest one. And it will tell you on the side somewhere, it tells you medium, coarse, or rough. Let me see which one this says. So this happens to say I can't get close enough to that one. But either way, there's a rough one, a smoother one, and then a smoother one, okay? And then this is the old traditional sharpening stone. On this one here, you would use the rough side first, but you must put a little mineral oil. You never put anything else on here but mineral oil. Don't put any shortening, any olive oil or anything like that like some people do. It must be restaurant grade mineral oil. But the whetstone here, once you sharpen it using the rough edge, then the smoother edge, and then the smoother edge, always at a 20-degree angle, right? You'll get your knife and you'll sharpen it at a 20-degree angle. So, for example, You come right over here, and you go from heel to tip at a 20-degree angle. And then you do the other side. And then you do the other side. You can do twice, 2 strokes, twice, and then twice, or 3 and 3. You should do a minimum of 10 strokes per side. At least once a week you should sharpen your knife. Those are the gadgets such as this that works okay. A small one that works like that. You want to put the stone on top of a wet towel to keep it from sliding everywhere. And remember that you will rarely see these wet stones, the triple-sided one. They're expensive, they break easy. You'll see a lot of these out in the industry. A lot of times they're broken, but they're inexpensive. But the very best type of sharpening tool is going to be the electric one, and those can be pretty costly, and also people don't take care of them, so that could be an issue. Okay, we're going to talk about the mixing machines. This is a tabletop, your average KitchenAid tabletop mixer, and these mixers, this is testable also. All mixers come with 3 standard pieces. It comes with a hook, a dough hook, it comes with a whisk, and it comes with a paddle. Okay, the paddle is to mix and blend. The whisk is to incorporate air, and the hook is for dough. KitchenAid. Okay, so right in here in the KitchenAid, you can open this up, and you can put different components in there, like a spaghetti machine, a pasta machine. You can use a pasta machine, a grinder, a grater, a cheese, sausage stuffer. There's all kinds of things that you can do with that. Okay, and we seem to lose these little caps a lot. So the biggest thing about this is make sure it's unlocked right over here. Okay, so you will lift it up. Okay, so make sure it's unlocked, which is down. You put your component on. You can just line up the little notch. The little notch lines up right here, and you turn it, make sure it's tight, and then you'll pick it up, and then that's when you plug it in. Always start off at 1. Always start off at 1 because you'll make a mess if you don't. Start off at 1 and you pick it up from there. Okay, so never stick your hands in there, and unplug it before you go ahead and release it back down. And you should always scrape the edges when you're making some type of product, okay? So this is the mixing machine with the 3 components that they all come with. And then here's a larger version right here. We have 3 of them. This has a safety cage, and it's actually magnetic right around here. It must line up properly for it to work. If you don't line this up properly, it won't work. Same attachments are inside: a paddle, a whisk, and the dough hook. Okay, we have 3 machines, and then once you get it's unplugged, you lower it, the handle, lift it back up. After you put your attachment, make sure when you close this, make sure that it's lined up with the magnets, and then you have to set a time, a speed, and then it'll take off slowly, and then you're ready to go. And this is open, so you can pour ingredients in there such as heavy cream, butter, seasoning, etc. So that's where the machines are at. Okay, so we do have 2 types of ovens that we use. We have convection oven and we have conventional oven. And most of you are going to be using this tabletop burners. The tabletop burners, they go for about $30, and people misuse them, they mistreat them, and they don't clean them. After every use, you must wash the top. It comes right off. And remember, cleaning is one thing and washing is another thing. Make sure you scrub it well. Okay? And I'm going to show you exactly how this works. There's a lot of questions on how this works. Okay, so first of all, the round sides go over here. The flat edge goes there. And this must be on off. Everyone's going to have that problem on day 1. You're not going to know what's going on. Okay? And lock is right here and unlock. So first of all, it must be off. It must be unlocked. And then you get this propane. This is butane. So you get this butane container. Find the notch. The notch is right here. I have my finger inside the notch. So that notch is actually going to go right into here. The little probe there's a little probe right there. And right over here, there's a small little hole. So the probe goes in there, make sure the notch is lined up right here, and then you're gonna lock it. Okay, you lock it, and now it should be ready to go. It turns right on the first try. But if it's left on from the last person, they loosen it, they don't turn it off. Okay, you're gonna put a tank in there, and then you're gonna come over here. You're gonna want to lock it. It doesn't lock, and then people break it. And the reason is because it's not off. It must be off, and then you can lock it, and it turns right on. So it's very easy to use. Okay. At the end, make sure you loosen it. Take the tank out, and I'll show you where they go. And make sure you wash your cover to it. Okay, the top, the liner, that's washable. Most of you will be using that to work at your own station so you can social distance. We're going to talk about scales. Okay, so first of all, there's different kind of scales, and the oldest kind of scale, the oldest one that I got to use over 30 years ago, is going to be this balancing scale right here. Okay, and then the way this works, is this, there's a weight here, that's 1 pound, okay? And I'm not sure if you can see from here, this is very, very old, like from the 60s and 70s. So this takes 16 ounces, right? So for right now, if you were to put anything on there, you'd put it at 16 ounces, that's for 1 pound right there. Let me zoom in a little bit better. So this alone is 1 pound. With that weight, or you could do half a pound, 8 ounces. So you put something on here, it should be 8 ounces. So remember, the balancing scale alone is a pound if you put it all the way to the end. But then if you want to start adding more weight to it, and then you start adding a pound weight, there's 2 pound weight on top of there. So this is really old, but a lot of places you go work at, that's what they use these days. And then there's also this other type of weighing device. You always want to start off at 0, which is called tare weight, T-A-R-E, tare weight. Means the weight before you put something on, because now if you're going to use that and you want to measure some flour, let's say you use this device, and then it's already measuring like at least almost 6 ounces, and that's not the true weight because you haven't put anything in it yet. So if you were to put ingredients in there, you wouldn't have the right amount of ingredients. So put it at 0, and then you start there. Okay. So this is another type of device. But what we're using these days are digital. Okay, you turn it right on. And then you can also get the tare weight. You always want to start your scales, you always want to start at 0. So the tare weight right here, it says 0, or tare weight is the same thing. But let's say I want 2 pounds of flour, and I'm going to put it in here. Well, that alone weighs 6.7 ounces. So if I put flour in there, I'm not going to have enough of the flour that I'm looking for because I don't have it on the tare weight. So now I'm going to 0 it, and it goes to 0. And then now you can add your ingredients. So remember tare weight. Remember tare weight. Make sure you always start at 0. You must start at 0. Okay, this is a slicing machine. And for basic foods, I don't anticipate anybody using it, but you have to be familiar with it. Okay, the first thing, make sure it's unplugged. Okay, right up here, safety device. This gives you the size that you want as far as the cut. So one would be very thin. If you look up here at the blade, it gets wide and then it gets thin. Okay, so depending how thick you want it, and then you put your product right in here, and then you get this right here and put some pressure on it right here, and then once you get the machine, once you plug it in, you start slicing. Okay, and right down here is where you'll be catching your product. Make sure to never touch this blade, the blade around here. And the way to clean this blade is you just take the screw off right here and remove this, and this entire thing comes off right here. Okay, this plate comes out, but the blade is very, very sharp. So make sure you put it on 0 where it's flush. Take that screw out from the back, pull it out from right here, and then you're gonna sanitize it, wash it, sanitize it, and rinse it. Okay, remember to make sure that it's unplugged at all times. This is a vacuum sealer to vacuum pack in pouches. Okay, no one's allowed to use this but our techs. Maybe you want to do a steak sous vide or something like that. You put it in here, and then once you have the bag in there, you put the pressure you want. You close this, and then you make sure it's secure right there. So vacuum sealer, nobody will be using that, only the staff. If you need some help with it, let us know. This is where all our burners are kept, the tabletop burners I just showed you. So we have several of them. And then we have a lot of excess items in here for baking and cooking as well. This next closet over here, we call the paper closet. Okay. So up here we have all the plastic spoons, knives, forks, toothpicks, skewers, sugar, tray liners, aluminum foil, saran wrap, and all the plates and paper goods to go. And then over here we have chemicals. Okay, we have gloves of all sizes, chemicals. There's the fuel tanks. Okay, this is all detergents and cleaners. The to-go stuff. Once you start cooking, everyone's going to want to take food to go, but you must bring your own containers. You must bring Ziploc, maybe boxes or bags or something to bring your food home. Okay. Okay, so in relation to the kitchen entrance, dishwashing in the back, all the work tables. Okay, so now let's go over here and talk about the ovens. These are convection ovens, convection with a V. These here are the ones that blow hot air with the fan. The question is going to ask what type of oven blows hot air with the use of a mechanical fan, and it's going to be a convection oven. Convection oven, it blows hot air. That way that your product bakes evenly and also doesn't burn in one area more than the other. And please make sure that there's only two things you need to do. Is you need to come up here, and all you're going to do is turn it on. You want high or low. Okay? Once you do that, it normally starts off at 350 by itself, and you can hear the fan blowing. And you need to put the temperature and your name on there, because if not, someone will come and change the degrees of the temperature. So if you want to change the temperature, okay, so all you do is you go right here, you press temperature, and then you start to go up. So right here, temperature right there, and then you just higher it here or lower it. And the only thing you do is turn it on and off. You want high fan, low fan. If you're baking, you might want low. If you're roasting or braising, you might want high, but we'll turn it off. That's all you do, is on and off. Do not mess with anything else. On and off. Temperature, it'll tell you here on the screen, load. Load means it's ready to go. That's how you know that. And you must have your masking tape and also your marker to put your temperature and your name, because if not, someone will change it on you. And we have 3 convection ovens. Okay, these are very expensive. Anytime you open this, be very careful, because there's always a draft out of any oven, so the heat's gonna just come out and it'll blast you, so be very careful on that. So 3 convection ovens, and in this back table, we haven't cleaned everything yet, but this is where all our measuring, baking, spoons, like measuring spoons, and excess measuring cups. Okay, and I'd rather you work back here if you're baking or something doing with the oven. Then this other device right here is called a proofing cabinet. The only thing you will do with this is turn it on or off. Okay, it's on. Close the door. And that's all you do with this. Proofing cabinet. You put dough in there and it helps you proof the dough. It helps it rise a lot faster. It runs off of humidity and heat. You will never do anything with the buttons but turn it off and on. It's set exactly where Chef Claudia would like it at. And because we're in a dark room and because there's moisture in there, you always want to leave a door open. Leave a door open to avoid mold and mildew growing in there. The only thing you do is turn it off and on, but also on that hole down there, you want to make sure there's water in there. There's a heating element, a probe, and you want to make sure that that probe is completely immersed in water. If it's not, let an instructor know, because we don't use regular water, it's too hard. We use distilled water. Okay, over here in the back, we're going to go to the back really quick. And this is where we have our conventional ovens. Okay, so these are your regular, typical conventional ovens. Convection is the one with hot air. This is conventional. It's old school, either gas, sometimes electric, but that's what they call conventional ovens. So these ovens back here, about 3 of them work. They're very, very old, and we are having a new building built, so that's something to think about. The hood vent, right above here. The hood vent, there's lights, there's switches at that very top corner over there, and there's also some over here in this top corner. Anytime you're using this hood vent, the vent must be on. Or anytime you're using any device or equipment under the hood vent, the vent must be on. So if you're using the stove tops, the burners, you must have the vent on. And right up here we have a broiler, also known as a salamander. It's heat from above instead of from the bottom. If you see a question that says, what is the opposite of grilling? It's broiling. We call this a salamander. And you put your product inside there. Your knobs, you just turn the knobs on, 2 knobs, and it'll go right on. The pilots are not, they're not on yet. Yeah, no problem. So, and then what I wanted to show you was this deck oven right here. This deck oven, okay, they call it deck because it's stacked on top of one another. This is mostly solely for baking. Never put any type of product in here, such as protein or anything else. This is for dough, okay? Some of the features that this has, for example, it has steam. It has steam in here. That's how you get that crispy artisan bread. It has the power. It has a heat source above, a heat source in the bottom. The cool part about it is you can open it with this lever right up here on the right and look in there. There's also lighting, and you can notice there's tile in here. Okay, very expensive. You never want to put water, soap and water in here. I would stay away from this deck oven. They're over $10,000. And it's good for pizzas, breads, artisan breads, etc. So the baking side uses this. This is Chef Claudia's oven, and I would not use it. So we have 2 washing sinks, hand washing sinks. You must have soap. You must have towels, single use, and you must have a trash can. Those are the must. This one is operated by foot. Okay. So we have one here. As soon as you get your sanitation bucket and you get your table ready to cook, you need to wash your hands. And the second one is going to be way back there. Way back there in the very, very back wall is the other hand washing sink. Okay, so once you get your sanitation bucket, wash your hands, have a seat until we give them further instructions. So we have the same setup over here. And then we have prep sinks back here. There's a 3-compartment sink, but that's for prep. That's where you rinse vegetables, rinse meats, etc. And then we have our other one way back over here. So those are the sinks. Never wash you will never wash dishes in these sinks. This is only for food prep. No washing here. Only the dishwashing area. Let's talk about cutting boards really quick. We have color-coded cutting boards. When you go to the industry, most likely you won't see this again, but it's important to know. This prevents cross-contamination. So for the red cutting board, any kind of raw meat, yellow, poultry, blue, anything cooked, and then the tan, seafood, the green for produce, and then the dairy is going to be the gray, the grayish looking one, which we probably don't have in here at this point. And we have them all back here. You must be using the right cutting board. And the right cutting board is going to be here, for example. You want a wet towel below your cutting board. When you do vegetable cuts, on vegetable cuts day, vegetable day, you're going to be using a green cutting board with a wet towel below it. That's why you need 3 towels. One towel is for the bottom of the cutting board to avoid it from moving around while you're cutting. And then the second towel is going to be for your sanitation bucket. Okay, and then the third towel is to clean. Remember that cleaning, rinsing, washing, sanitizing, those are all different things. If I say to clean your area up, you're going to wipe it down. But if I say to sanitize, that means to clean first, wipe it down, sanitize it. Now, after you get done with your products here, and you want to jump over to chicken now, you must go and wash your dishes, wash your towels, come back, and then you're going to go to your chicken, which is poultry, the yellow color. Make sure you have the right color at all times. I'll start going over the pots and pans. So here we have sauce pots, and that's exactly what they are. They're to make sauces for sauce pots. Some are sloped on the side. For example, like this one, it has sloped edges to it versus the flat. It's flat all the way on the edge. It's flat. This is sloped. Sometimes you want slope to get the heat all the way to the top, coming around the side. It'll reach the top. So anything here is going to be used to make sauces or soups. And then over here, the big pans, the big pots, these are stock pots. They're so big because you need to put a lot of bones and vegetables and all the ingredients in there, so it has to be a big pot. So those are considered stock pots. So saucepans, stock pots, and up here you have more saucepans. Okay, so this is a back work table. This back work table is where you're going to get your ingredients to do your mise en place. What is mise en place? We'll find out a little later. But here you have all your spices, your dried spices and ingredients. And all your measuring and mise en place and prep will be done in this back table. You're not allowed to take anything to your table because people are going to be looking for it. Okay? This back table is the only area we're going to have all the product and little measuring cups. And if you're wondering what mise en place is, the exact term, it's a French term meaning everything in its place. Everything is ready. For example, I'm going to cook something and I have my mise en place right here. Let's say I have 2 cups of milk, and let's say I have some rice, and I have all my dry ingredients. You're welcome to use whatever we have in the back. I have my spoon, I have my saucepan, I have my skillet, I have my oil. Maybe a couple other things are missing, but this means I'm ready to cook. Mise en place, everything in its place. That's the first French term you will learn in this class. And don't forget, you will be quizzed on where everything is at. So here you have spoons, you have slotted spoons, you have regular spoons, perforated spoons. All the spoons will hang right up here. Okay? We have a panini press right there. We have sausage making equipment. We have a waffle machine right back there. This is where you find your skillets. The skillets are right above the 3-compartment sink. And again, remember that we bailed out in spring break and never came back, so things aren't as clean as they should be. There's the chemicals again. This is where you find utensils such as ladles, tongs, other utensils, okay? And remember that every ladle has a measurement in ounces. Look at the very large ladle there. That's probably about 2 quarts possibly. Okay, then we're gonna go back over this way. Sheet pans. We have full sheet pans. We have cooling racks for cookies. We have plasticware, containers. All of this is game for you to use for whatever you need. These are hotel pans. Hotel pans are used for the serving line, like in a hotel or a restaurant, okay? So for example, this is a 4-inch, it's a whole pan. This is called an alley pan. An alley, kind of like a bowling alley, I would assume. But this is a 6-inch alley pan. This is a 2-inch half pan because it's only half size. There's 8s also, 6-inch, 4-inch. Graters, box graters are right here for cheese. Okay, colanders are right down here. More pans. And I believe these are half sheet pans. Okay, half sheet pans and full sheet pans. And these right here are pizza pans. These are good for the mise en place. And over here we have a bunch of plates. When you do your plating, you will be plating on all these plates, different plates that we have down here. We have soup bowls. We have different colors of plates, different kind of soup bowls, and different type of stuff you can use for your mise en place. These are called bain-maries. This is where you would put soup or sauce inside a warmer, okay? Lids for the serving line, some more full sheet pans, okay? Let's talk about, this is called a meal, a potato or rice meal. You put your food in there, and then with a handle you spin it around, and then it'll bring it, it'll smash it out for you. We also have this one that you put potatoes in there. It's a ricer is what they call it. And then we also have different sizes of colanders, big bowls, more half sheet pans. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so this refrigerator is not in use right now, but this refrigerator here is called garde-manger. That would be another class to take in the future, having to do with making cheeses, sausages, anything cold. Okay, so the garde-manger refrigerator, when you hear garde-manger, it is a class that we teach, but that's what we call this refrigerator, garde-manger. And then this is your dairy, where your cheese, your butter, your milk, all that good stuff will be at. So dairy in the left, garde-manger in the right. We have, here we have nuts, purees, vegetables, all the frozen vegetables, any kind of vegetables that are frozen will go in there. And then we have a salad bar refrigerator. You're looking for mayonnaise, Worcestershire sauce, whatever you're looking for will be in here. And also have the checklist to clean the lab when it's time to clean. We will have a daily manager assigned to this task just to assign your classmates. These are things that need to be done after every class. So it's important to get to class and to get busy right away because time runs out and then you still have to clean. Ice machine. So this is the ice machine right here that we use to cool products or for service. And if you read the sign here, okay, let me see if I can zoom in on it. It says, please use the metal paddle that's sitting on top, and the metal paddle is normally up here, so it's over here. So this metal paddle is something you want to use to loosen the ice. See the ice machine here? There's 2 slots right down here. You get more ice out, you can press the ice right in there, and it'll come out all the way to the bottom. It'll loosen all the ice from here on top. The paddles up here. Please don't ever stick your hands in here because I've seen at least 2 students cut their fingers. You shouldn't stick your hands in there anyways because of sanitation purposes. Then I'm going to go over here to the iced tea machine. This should normally be on all the time. The only thing you're going to do with this is you're going to get the basket. So here's a basket right here. So there is a basket for coffee and there is one for tea. Okay, this one's for the tea. So down in the bottom is where we keep all our products. So get a bag of tea, you just throw it in there, and you press brew, the green button. That's it for one of these containers. This takes about 5 cups of sugar, no more than that. That would be way too sweet. But that's all you got to do is just press brew. But tea tastes weird in some places you go to because they don't wash this. After a while, the tea creates excessive oils and bitter taste. Okay, so normally when we have service, we'll make one sweet and one unsweetened. So all you got to do is put a bag in there, slide it in, and put start. It's not on right now, but it will be on when school starts. So that's the iced tea maker. Can anybody tell me why iced tea is called iced tea? We're going to go over here. So this is a hot box or a holding box for hot food. I wouldn't use it past number 5 down here. But this is where you hold food until it's ready to be put on the serving line. It's a backup is what it is. Or you're holding it, okay? You got to make sure that it's off. You normally want to turn it on about an hour prior to service. And then here you have your steam line, your serving line, okay? This should be also turned on about 1 hour before service. There's some switches right down here, which turns everything on. And those are the heating elements for above only. And down here are for each individual well. The wells here, you want to fill it up about 2 inches, no more than that. Okay, about 2 inches. It does take about an hour to preheat to where you want it at. So make sure you get that done properly. If you put too much water, your pan's going to float. If you put too little water, it's going to burn. Okay. And then we're going to go to the coffee. Some ice there. Okay, so this is the coffee grinder. And all we use is fresh coffee. We get the coffee beans in there. And there's 2 settings, small and large. We cover the small because we only use the large. The same thing here, you get the basket, you put it down here, you press that button once, slide it into here, and you press brew. Okay, so you need to have the container right down here first of all, and then you hit brew. That's all you do with this. So we are here on the baking side. Check out a few pieces of equipment. So this is called a cake leveler. Okay. A cake leveler is where if you want to have a flat surface on top of your cake, okay, you will adjust this, the height, and there's a blade that goes in here, and this goes up. You loosen up the little screws, and it goes up and down depending how high the cake is, how tall, and then the blade is in there. They might not have it on right now, but you got to be very careful using this, okay? Make sure the instructor goes over it with you. These are things that we need to talk about according to the checklist, the safety checklist. So on the baking side, we do have a professional coffee machine, straight from Italy. Microwave oven on the baking side, you're welcome to use it at any time. We know that metal does not go into microwaves. However, there are some microwaves that do take metal inside. I'm not sure about this one, so be very careful. We use this to melt butter or melt other items, or even heat up your lunch. And then we have down here, we have a dehumidifier. We know that it's very humid in South Texas, so this dehumidifier, what it does is it collects all the humidity from the air, and then once it's collected, there's a bucket in the back. It turns off automatically, and you pour it out. Because when you're working on special products like macaroons, or something having to do with egg whites, you know, the humidity is not very good for it. So this right here is a dehydrator, and this opens just by opening the door like this, and it's really not even latched on. Okay, right now there are some products in there. This is solely for baking, only for baking to make flours, to dry fruits. The baking class uses this quite a bit. Okay, we're not gonna use protein in there to make beef jerky. I have my own put away somewhere when you do get to that point. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about these chocolate tempering machines. We do a lot of chocolate work here at Del Mar. Chef Claudia has a pretty good program, includes chocolate. So what this does is it tempers chocolate. Okay, it moves in. It moves the chocolate around to a certain temperature. It blends it properly. You should never stick your hands in there. It's a long process to make chocolate. Okay, but that's what those are for. This is an industrial ice cream machine. Okay, that's what it looks like. It's disassembled right now, but this is a commercial ice cream machine. You can buy an ice cream machine for about $25, but if it's not commercial, you won't get much out of it. And the same thing with this. Never put your hands in here. This is burnt or something. So, and when you take this apart, make sure it's unplugged. Make sure you sanitize it and wash it properly. We have 2 of them. Okay, and again over here on this side, they have their own cutting boards. They don't use a lot of different colors because they do mostly baking. Then right over here, you have a piece of equipment called the Duchess. The Duchess is pretty much, there's different kinds of pans. You put dough inside a pan and you slide it right under there, and then you get this big lever up here. Okay, and then what you do is you bring it down and it'll cut your dough. When you have dough in there, it'll cut it at a certain size. For example, it'll be, say you wanted like 3-ounce dinner rolls, those really soft rolls. This with that, instead of using a scale to individually weigh dough, you could actually just put it in here and it'll press it out for you. Different shapes of pans that are round, and they also have inserts for the different sizes of rolls that you would like. Then here we have our open griddle. It's a little rusted right now because we haven't used it. This open flame grill is very good to grill steaks and hamburgers, chicken. Again, if you come over here, you must turn the fan on right up there. Lights and fan must be on at all times. And the cool thing about this grill, it gives nice grill marks. It takes about a good 45 minutes. But when it comes to grilling, you always want to scrape the grill down with a metal, if you have the metal scraper, such as there, down there in the bottom. But the biggest thing is the bristles sometimes cause a problem because they fall off and sometimes end up in the meat or the food. Aluminum foil works good, but the first thing you want to do is turn it high, and all you got to do is, how do you do it? Well, you can't tell, but the knobs just turn to the left and the flames will come on. You won't see them because they're under a shield, okay? But turn all the knobs to the left. You know when everything's off when the knobs are when they're parallel, when they're vertical, okay? Now if they're horizontal, such as this, that means that it's on, and you'll hear it, okay? And the biggest thing is to clean the grill really good with a metal scraper, and this is the best one to use. Okay, scrape it very good, and then you're gonna get a whole bunch of paper towels, and with some oil, you're gonna wipe it down, turn off the grill, turn the flames off, put your mitten on, and then wipe it down really good, because you're scraping it to get all the excess food and carbon out of there, and then you're gonna wipe it down so it doesn't get your product tasting like really dirty, like something dirty. That's the big problem with the grills when they don't clean them properly. We do have a deep fat fryer. You use it for fritters, bacon. I'm sorry, not bacon, fritters and donuts and other fried products that they make over here on this side. And we're welcome to use that, but normally we don't fry that much, okay? And then this machine here is called a sheeter. A sheeter, S-H-E-E-T-E-R. So that big portion on the left and the right, it opens up like a conveyor belt. It opens up, it's a Y right now, so it'll actually open right up. And this is what you do to laminate dough. Laminating dough is a process of getting dough and putting a bunch of fat, mostly butter. And what it does is, it's a conveyor belt. So little by little, you'll put it on one side, and then it'll roll under the pin, depending which rolling pin you put in there, depending the thickness that you're looking for. And then it'll go to the other side and go back and forth until you get the proper thickness and width. And this is a lot easier than using a rolling pin. Again, you would open that up. So this part will go down to the left, right about there. This part goes down over here, and then you adjust the rolling pin what size you want, and it will roll out the dough as thick as that you want it. Okay, so this is the dry storage. I showed you the paper storage, paper chemical storage, and the equipment storage where the slicing machine was. Now we're going to go into the dry storage. So everything should be pulled. Your product should be pulled for you. When you get here, everything should be ready, but to be familiar with this room, mostly everything here on this shelf right here is baking. This is all baking product, such as brown sugar, powdered sugar in the very bottom, rose water, orange blossom water. So all baking product is here. All the flour, okay, we have all-purpose flour, we have bread flour, pastry flour, there's all kinds of flour that we have. And then over here, this is pretty much for culinary arts. We have different product. In here, we're trying to keep it stocked with a little of everything. We have different pastas, linguine, penne, angel hair, jasmine rice. So all the dry pasta, remember that pasta is going to be potatoes, grains, and starch. Okay, we have polenta, panko breadcrumbs, tempura, basmati rice, jasmine rice, and then we have our fats. When you cook, you will be using this blend, 50-50 blend. You will be cooking with that for everything. And when you see the olive oil in a can, the extra olive oil, that's extra virgin olive oil. It's very expensive, and that's only to make dressings or to eat raw. If you're gonna fry a large amount of item, there's rice bran oil, there's canola frying oil, peanut oil, there's shortening. We have grapeseed oil, marsala wine, sherry. We even have balsamic vinegar and white balsamic vinegar for anyone that's never used it. Different types of olives. And then over here, we have an overflow of spices. We should have everything out in our lab, but everything else, the overflow is in here. Salt, canned goods, and there's canned goods right in here. If you're asked to put something away, please make sure and put it back where it goes. Mops and brooms is right here by our back entrance. And this can opener right here, this is a can opener, color number 10, for number 10 cans or even smaller cans. Let's try to get the can here. This can right here, for example, this can opener, the handle goes up like that, and if you pay close attention, right down here, probably get a better angle right over here. So right down here, there's a point. There's a sharp point right there. Right there. Okay, so this goes in here. And let me see if I can get this in there with one hand. So you would put the can right over here. In any case, that point you see with my pinky right here, that has to go into the edge here, and you smash it in, okay? And let's just say it's in there, and then now you're gonna twist it around and open the can. That's how you open this can. So down here, the sharp little point must go inside the rim, and that's how you open a can. But we do have regular can openers out front, but that's a large can opener right there, okay? We do have a restroom in our kitchen. It's a unisex restroom, so make sure you lock the door for men and women. This is in our kitchen. A lot of people don't like to use this one back here for whatever reason. But right back there we have the men's room straight ahead between the front entrance and the baking lab. And then we have the ladies' room and the back rear entrance. That's where the ladies' room is at. And again, this is the office to our RM admin. And so Chef Liz is the one that works in here. Adjuncts, Chef Claudia, myself, we use his back office sometimes. And here are our inboxes up here. So if you ever have to turn something in late, you can turn it in to our inbox right here. And then we do have a liquor cabinet. We keep strict control of our liquor cabinet. Okay, you have to ask your instructor for liquor if you want liquor, or wine or beer. Okay, so I want to show you some of the stuff that I have for you students to use in my toolbox. On top, it's a mess again. Everyone gets in here and just throws things in here. But I have a bunch of things in here that are sharp, so be very careful. But the main things you will be looking for are rubber spatulas, which I have in here. Wooden spoons of all sorts right here. Then I have metal spatulas. I have all sizes of metal spatulas, all kinds of metal spatulas for you to use as well. Molds, cutters, fish spatula. Okay. More molds and cutters. Normally I have this full of wire whisk, but we will get everything back organized. And then some of the other stuff that you'll need. If you need a mallet, spatulas, masher, picks, strainers, pizza cutters. Right over here we have whisk, ladles, vegetable peelers, ice cream scoops. Down here in the bottom of these bins are sugar and flour, or flour and sugar. I'm not sure which one is which yet. Okay, so these are in front of the convection oven. Okay, don't forget they're down here, the extra utensils. So if you don't see your utensils, your tongs and your ladles, if you don't see them on that wall over there, and then the spoons are hanging right above there, if you don't see something you're looking for, it's going to be above the sugar and the flour. And I'm not sure we talked about the skillets, but we have all the frying skillets here. We have the slope-sided and the flat-sided. So all the skillets are there. Again, spoons, stock pots, sauce pots, more sauce pots on top. Oh, and one of the biggest things is make sure when it comes to the spices, Chef Liz is in charge of all of this, and she's done a very good job on getting everything in order and labeled. Okay, it's all labeled. Please do not throw things back just wherever you want. Okay, and remember, you will do all your measuring back here in this back table. I will do my demos in this back table over here. This is the table where I do my demos. As you can see, there's a mirror right above. I'll do my demo here. So 6 feet apart for 10 of you. So a couple be there, a couple here, a couple there. That's about 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can stay around me to watch what I'm doing. Okay. I will do a demo, and then you will have the opportunity to see what I'm doing and taste it, and then it will inspire you. As far as recipes go, I will give you recipes. Okay, so I'm out in the back. I want to see if this doesn't fog up on me because of the temperature change outside, inside, and I'm going to walk you through the refrigerators. But I wanted to tell you first that this is the water hose out in the back. When you're emptying trash cans, if it's dirty, wet with juices or something, you want to rinse it with this is hot water. Allow the hot water to come out, and then you leave the trash can upside down, and we'll take care of it the next day. So this is the back entrance to the culinary lab. You come out here. Remember, I told you in the last video, we have produce and excess dairy goes in here, and then this one has protein, meaning only meats, all meats. It's frozen it's all frozen in the back, and it's refrigerated in the front. So let's go in here. Hopefully we don't have fogging on the computer. So it's actually empty right now. It's actually empty, but pretty soon on the left it's going to be all produce, and on the the right and the far back will be fruits, and then on the front part to the right is going to be all your excess cheeses, okay? And if you're assigned to this, if you're assigned to return products, you're going to come and put them back in the proper spots and sweep in here, and if it needs to be mopped, you will mop as well, please. Whoever's assigned to that. So the protein refrigerator, frozen in the back again, and it's refrigerated in the front. So tempering meats, how do you thaw meats out? The best way to thaw it out is by tempering. So you don't just take it out and leave it in the sink. Okay, you have to take it out of the freezer, which is in the back, and put it in one of these racks. Everything on a pan. And as you can see, we have a bunch of meat in here already. So we have beef, we have seafood, we have pork. Everything should be cool for us when we need it. So in future classes, we'll be using the smoker here. We smoke a bunch of barbecue, brisket, ribs, salmon. We make all kinds of things with it. And then let's go to the storage shed. This is where excess equipment, platters, and such. Okay, somebody always locks his door wrong.